about doing a testimonial. And she hadn't responded. So I don't know whether, she was like caught up or whatever. People be having other stuff they be doing. So
Yeah, she a caregiver for her mom more.
Oh, that's why I did know. Yeah, she did tell me that before too. Yeah, she did tell me that before. So I know a lot of times she's on. So I don't know what I don't know whether you're just going to do Q&A or whether you're going to be talking about a particular subject, or I'm not sure. I know you do your Thursday night call, so I'm sure you got plenty of things you can talk about on there. So I am okay. So we're good on.
She's on though. Jody's on.
Oh, okay. Let me do this.
She's in the room. John's in the room.
So let me.
I hear John in.
Okay.
You want Jody in?
Yeah, let Jody in real quick.
Narcan 0 call to get assistance.
All right, Kathleen, thank you very much for that excellent report.
John, your TV kind of loud.
Only suggesting higher prices of
Thanks, Brenda.
Hey, John, your TV kind of loud.
My what?
Your TV kind of loud.
My TV's kind of loud. Like, let me close the door.
Hey, Jody.
Hey, Robert.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, I owe you an apology. You sent me a Christmas card, and somehow I just saw it. When I say just somehow I just saw it, I had a pile of you know how you have like your mail. My son ain't got the mail, and I'm looking I'm like, when did you put his in? He's like, Dad, that mail been there for the longest. I'm like, did I ever look through this? He was like, I don't know. I just brought it in the house. I don't know if you ever looked through it. So I'm looking through it, and I'm like, Jody, I open up, it's a Christmas card. I'm like, dude, how long has it been here? He's like, dude, I put that there forever ago. Like, you just don't be paying no attention.
Forever ago. I like that. Forever ago.
It's doggone May.
Yeah. Hey, it's been cold enough around here. It's finally warming up, so it has felt like Christmas. So it's all crazy. Good. So yeah.
My people in Buffalo said that it snowed last week in Buffalo. I'm like, in the April still snowing up in places. I'm like, that's crazy.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
Gonna have a lot more people moving south soon.
So I sent you a text earlier asking you about doing a testimonial.
Oh, okay.
Because I saw your post on the deal. So if you're willing to do it, Sharonda's gonna be the one doing it with you. I just was reaching out to her to see whether or not you were available to do it. I didn't know what your situation was. So
sure. Yeah. Yep.
All right, good stuff. So y'all can do that whatever order y'all gonna do it in. Like I said, I'll be listening in, but I'm not gonna be doing much. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you, Sharanda. I'm gonna go ahead and make you the host real quick. Yeah, make Sharanda the host.
Hey, John, it's Jody.
All right.
Hey, Jody.
All right, so you guys get so whoever can y'all can go ahead and let them in now. Sharanda, Sharon, whoever, John.
Who's training next month? Them or you or
I am.
Oh, John is training in May.
John, you training next month?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, this month,
May 21st, right?
That's right.
Yeah, May 21st. Yeah. John. Yeah, I saw it up there myself. I had sent somebody to it. All right, guys, I'm gonna mute myself.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for popping in.
Good evening. This is Wilma from.
Well, from Watts. Hi, Wilma.
Hi, John. Hi, John. You don't have to tell them where I'm from.
They know.
Good evening, everyone.
How you doing?
Good evening, all. Jim Hicks.
Who's Jim?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Glad to see everybody can join us again.
Good evening.
Dale want to say where he from. Go ahead, Dale. Get it out. Get it out.
I just got to say from Dallas, Texas. I'm being
You're not
obedient.
from Dallas.
No, I'm not. I'm from Gladewater, but I was told to say Dallas.
That's right.
Put your city on the map. Put your city on the map.
Gladewater, Texas.
What is it?
Gladewater. Gladewater.
Gladewater. Okay. How far are you from Dallas?
About 2 hours.
Oh, you're not from Dallas. You're from Gladewater.
Yeah.
You're not from Dallas.
2 hour drive distance. Wow.
No. So I say I'm from Byron, but Ronald Robbins is a big city. It's probably a mile from where my address, Byron. So I can say that 2 hours. No, you from Gladewater.
Gladewater.
Yeah.
I can say Longview. I'm a suburb of Longview.
Longview?
Yes.
Okay, I'll say you from Longview.
But it's a suburb, so about 20 miles, about 20 minutes.
Put your city on the map.
Oh, 2 hours from Gladeview you're still in Texas.
Yes, I'm still in Texas.
All righty. Cool.
Good.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hey, Daryl.
Well, it's 8:40 already. All righty. So we got everybody in. So
yeah, good evening. Mr. Flo's here too. How y'all doing?
Hey, how are you?
I'm fantastic now that I'm back on.
All righty. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get started. It's like 10 minutes, almost 15 minutes behind. So we're gonna get started with introductions, and then we got a testimonial, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A since we are right after the CDLP training. So I'm sure we have some new people on here. So we'll give you the opportunity, or whoever on here, just to raise your hand after the testimonial, and we'll take a few questions that you may have. So we'll get started here. I'll go first. Okay, John? That's okay?
That's fine, Joanna, go ahead. Ladies first.
Thank you. Well, my name is Sharanda Ivy. I'm from Byron, Georgia, been with Legal Shield. June will be our 9th year. Focus here on the CDLP division of the company. Chose my major and my minor. I would advise people who haven't taken the level 1 to definitely take that, so you can, know what we're talking about when we say our major and our minor. One thing I would say that really changed my business. So we've written over 1,000 personal memberships. We earned that 1,000 app award, earned the 2019 and 2021 Field Trainer of the Year. So we got 2 Ladies of Justice trophies, and we are Emory Elite, meaning that we're in the top 100 on production. And so we are 50K ring earners. And we definitely was focused on CDLP and small biz by doing that. And just got a lot of other awards like top group opener, number 2 in the company, and solutions trainer. Just recently solutions number 8 trainer in the company. But I will say that, it's just really has changed my business by focusing on CDLP. So I work a lot with the associates on Thursday nights with the accountability call, helping them reach their goals, and excited for the progress that those individuals are doing in the space, some mastermind that we do. And so this is a coaching call here. The ones that pop in on Thursday are actively working in the field. They have some activity, they're making some dials. And so if you feel like you're ready for that, we welcome you to that. It is a link on the CDLP page. Just go and I guess you can search my name and it'll come up, in that group. Maybe I try to put something there and make it come to the top, but just register on that and you'll get an email with the link. and we welcome you to come to that. But we look for you to come every week. It's accountability. That's what it's about. So with that, if I can help anyone, definitely reach out. I am the CDLP trainer, state trainer here in Georgia, but definitely, we work the business all over, so it doesn't matter. But that's the title they give us, the CDLP state trainer for Georgia and solutions field trainer as well. So with that, I pass it over to John. Dunbar won't be tapping in. He is on, but he won't tap in tonight. And so I'll pass it over to John to introduce himself. And I'll say this, John, I was going to say this before I got started. And welcome to all the new associates who maybe just took the class, maybe just joined Legal Shield, maybe just decided to plug into this division of the company. We welcome you. This is a coaching call that happens every week. So if you can't join live, definitely get on a replay and follow up and listen at the call that way. So with that, I pass it over to you, John.
Good evening, CDLP family. I'm glad to see my field trainer partner is on the call today too. I got him to join the group, and we are going after some druggy companies. And I'm also the guest trainer this month for May 21st in the CDLP certification training. To let you know what I'm going to be doing starting tomorrow, I'm going to be sending out a blast email to about 3,000 trucking companies, including about 500 in Georgia. Just kidding, Sharanda.
Yeah, I'm married with me.
Just mainly California, Arizona, but I'm trying different things to see what we can do to try and get this business in full speed remotely. But I'd like to go out and go door to door and handpick my customers I go out to. And I have quite a bit of success doing that with my prospecting technique that I'm going to be sharing on May 21st also too, where we can pick and choose who the companies we go after. So I've been in Legal Shield for 15 years. My first half of the 15 years was part-time because I was also involved in a commercial truck tire business where my customers were trucking companies and transportation companies. And so when I joined Legal Shield, I knew that this was something that I could bring to the market because I was trying to diversify my customer base and tried many different things, including, besides tires is almost like a network marketing business. We take care of the customers, they come back for more, but there's always competition. Whereas in Legal Shield, there's not a lot of competition with that, especially in CDLP. We have the best service for that. And that's when you go out and you find out what other people are doing. You realize really what we do have to offer to trucking companies. And that makes it really gratifying to go out and call on these transportation companies, especially what they're going through right now. So anyway, I'm approaching the $1,000 app. Like Sharanda has already surpassed that. Hope to surpass that this year. I was the 9th place certification trainer or business solutions trainer in the nation. Was honored with that at the last convention. So I hope to see many of you on the training on May 21st, and also tell your associates that are interested in this program to please get that training. And we need you guys out there. We really need to get more CDLP trainers out there. I am the only CDLP trainer on the West Coast, west of the Rockies. Christine Selig's the only one closest to me. She's in El Paso, Texas. So there's a great need for more field trainers and more people in the CDLP market. All right, I'm done.
Awesome. Cool beans. So we got a testimonial tonight. So we, Jody, where you at? There you go. All righty. So Jody can come on. Jody, we're going to have Jody share her most recent activity with us. And we will ask her some questions after she shares that. And if anybody have any questions afterwards, please just raise your hand and we will call out for you to get unmuted versus just starting to talk. So we'll pass it over to you, Jody, just to share with us your testimonial.
All righty. Well, thank you guys for having me. I really love this area, the CDLP arena, and just really appreciate Monday night, the field trainers that, pour into us and everything, and as well as Sharanda on Thursday nights. It's a really good group of people. So it's just great to be here. And so, yeah, I've done a couple of safety meetings. So these are people that I've been calling on since pre-COVID, so a couple of years, and actually have, excuse me, one of the group authorization forms from that year as well. So, and, they were ready for, a safety meeting. Well, we'll split it up here. So the one that I did have the group auth form, I've been calling on them, and then they got into some trouble, and they were on conditional and all of that stuff. And then I stopped in again, and they were ready. And so I went to this safety meeting, and we got about four guys signed up with the legal and the CDLP plan. And I also have 2 more applications that I've got to call on later this week and see if they're a go. And so that was one of them. And then the week before was another company that we've been calling on for a couple of years as well. And so that was my first bigger safety meeting. So that was an experience. It was big for me, and it was still small, but probably about 20 drivers or something. And then they had their awards banquet. So it was a lot of stuff going on that morning. And so I just, they didn't give me a time limit, but they told me not to take long. So, and they sandwiched me between the Aflac girl and then their insurance people. And so, she did her spiel and I did my spiel. And I think I was the fastest talker of all the speakers, because I'm just I've got to be fast. So, but for my first bigger one, I'm proud of myself. And, I didn't get any at that time. But this past Thursday, when I was calling on companies that I've been, just kind of, as Sharon, and it's dating them for the last 2 years and just kind of following up and everything, I got a call from one of the drivers that they weren't even at the safety meeting, and the safety manager had sent out some minutes from the meeting, and so she called me, and we're getting her signed up. And so that's those 2. And then there's another one that I'm going to be working with too, for another safety meeting that was another one that I have a group auth form signed from 2020. So things are starting to happen, post pandemic, and they're starting to have safety meetings. I also do calling as well, calling to some smaller companies, and just depending on what my schedule is, for that week, because I have a variety of things going on. But I'll stop there in case if there's any questions on that part.
Could you share with them how long you've been dealing with this company? I know you've had a group authorization form, into corporate, and maybe had some apps on it, or maybe not. But can you share with them how long you had the group active, and probably what was your consistency of following up? Say, how often was you following up with them? What was that like for you, and how did you get back in?
Yeah, so a lot of it, was pre-COVID, that we've, been, these 3 particular companies were pre-COVID. And, it was then when COVID hit, it was just, more or less, what can I do to help you guys? How are you guys doing? And just sending anything that we were discussing on these Monday night calls, putting flyers together and stuff like that, and emailing it, maybe dropping it off if they were open. But a lot of it was just emailing or calling, especially if there were any blitzes, anything like that. But it was just constant as far as anytime that anything came out, because things were changing so much during COVID, that you felt like you were sending out an email probably a few times a week with all the updates. And that was just something that I just stayed up on, and they were really appreciative. I had several that would email me back, and they're like, "Thank you, Jody." And then also, even, just in the last 2 years, following up, probably depending on the situation, probably, I'm probably average every 6 weeks. And just staying in front of them, whether it's, sending an article or swinging in and seeing if that they needed anything, things like that. And so really, neither of those, had anything on the books until this past week, or in the last couple of weeks. So I've literally been, calling on them for 2 years before anything really happened.
Awesome. Good stuff. That's good to know, because I know there's some associates on the line that have some groups that they open like right before COVID with no activity. So hopefully they hear that and it'll give them hope to just continue to follow up. So good stuff. John?
Yeah, that's great, Jody. That's what I'm realizing out there too. One of my large companies that I opened a couple of years ago, just before COVID, nothing was happening there, and I finally got the approval to go there and sit there and talk to the drivers. With about 700 drivers, I'm going to be there for a few days, and so things are loosening up a little bit, and you just have to wait for something to happen. Of course, timing is everything. Follow up is is the best thing we can do, and watch our scores and see when something happens. When something happens, just politely say, are you ready now? Let's see what we can do to help you with that. So that's amazing. That we hope that doesn't happen. They get the service before that happens, but when they do get that conditional rating, then they know that they really need our services.
Yeah. And that was what one of the girls said, that in the front office, that they're like, you really do care, and it's like, yeah, I do care. It's like, I've been a business owner, and that some of you guys know that I'm transitioning out of my personal chef business too. And it's like, I don't want to see any business fail or get shut down. If they want to stop having a business, I want it to be on their terms, not somebody else's terms. It's a lot of hard work, and it's just like, yeah, I do care. It's like, I'm fighting for you too,
I like to say trucking isn't cheap. So you can imagine the money they put in there, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. So good stuff.
Yeah.
So anybody else have any questions for Jody?
I have a question, Jody. How large was that company? How many drivers was in that company?
So the one company, ironically, the one that I had 0 enrollments at the time, there were probably about 15 drivers there, but they actually have about 80 drivers, and but they were all out making money. They were all on the road, a lot of them. So and then the other one, they probably have about 10. The ones that I did get about, that I got 4 applications and two were pending. So almost have all of them, and that's the one that's in conditional, so they're needing it. And
So one that had 80, do they have like a lot of owner operators there also too, or are they all employee drivers?
There's some owner ops as there as well, probably I think there's about 30 owner ops.
What an amazing opportunity for you to really make that expand, like explode. Yes.
Yeah. I'm really excited. Like I said, it's really an honor to be in this field and in this company. It's a good company, and there's just so much that we can do to help people, and that's what that's really been, I think, my motto all my life is, I like to make life easier for people, and definitely prove that by being a personal chef. I mean, it's like people don't have to cook hardly any, themselves, and that just took a toll, mentally and physically on me. And so and 4 years ago is when I kind of landed into Legal Shield and really started focusing on it January 2020 in the CDL realm. And then that's where I was just really focusing. And then now it's starting to come into fruition here.
Do you have a driver's list?
Do I have a driver's list? Oh, like the
census report?
Census? No, I don't. That's a good, yes, I keep forgetting about that. See, this is why I come here to learn from the pros. So
I asked that because, you know, if you had a list, you could text those that weren't in the room. You said it was 80 in the company, only 15 in the room.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you think of fanatical prospecting. So he's not on, but one thing Alan said that he had started to incorporate was he really gets fanatical about texting when he gets his census report. And
Okay.
so he was amazed that a lot of drivers were signing up because, of course, he had the website set up for those companies, you know, with those drivers that are over the road. Like if you have a company that big, it's best to get have a website built, have corporate build them a website. But I advise associates not to have corporate to do that with a small company, you know, if you get most of them in the room or you can have access to them.
Okay.
But 80 drivers and only 15 was in the room, I would definitely have corporate build that company a site and text that link out to them, maybe with the video. But that's one thing Alan said that he had got fanatical about with his list. And he was amazed because it was something new he was trying and he was getting a lot of response.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Great tips.
But it's always a way to, because a lot of drivers don't check email. A lot of them don't. I mean, just because they're old school, just because they can, I mean, I've seen young guys don't check email. So,
yeah,
you know, so you just got to be fanatical. And if you can't get them all in the room, you have to have some way of reaching out to them. You know, some people even do mail, snail mail.
Alrighty. All right.
Miranda, you have 4 hands raised for questions.
So who was first?
Allison Ware.
I just, congratulations. I just had a question. How long you been with the company?
4 years, focusing it on in the last 2. January 2020 is when I started focusing on it. And then COVID.
Thank you for that question. Cynthia Ware. You can come unmuted. Let me see if I can unmute you.
She's unmuted. She's muted again.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Cynthia. Go ahead, Cynthia, with your question.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Glad to be here, and it's an honor that you all are here for us. So thank you. Jody, I have a question. And it's part of it is your commitment to that follow-up. Initially, or can you break down how many times you went inside or just one of the companies, maybe the largest company? How many times you went inside the company, and then how many times you pretty much communicated, network with the safety manager or the personnel inside of the company? I mean, for 2 years is a long time. I take my hat off to you.
Yeah, and thank you. And that's, you know, I remember 2 years ago when I was on these calls and hearing that as well, and some of them were even more, you know, calling on companies even for more years than that, you know, before anybody signs up. And it goes back to the saying, fortune is in the follow-up. And if they know that you are going to be consistent and showing up, then they're going to start, you know, taking a look at you, you know, a little bit more. Some of them are just like a right away. I mean, and that's happened, you know, the next safety meeting that I'm going to have. I mean, as soon as I went in there and talked to the guy, he was very familiar with our company, and he signed the group off form right then and there. And that has a potential of close to 200 drivers. So I'm really excited for that one coming to happen. But you know, as far as how often, like I said, it was just like because during COVID, there was so much going on. So it was rather very frequent during COVID, just because of all the stuff that was coming down from the FMCSA and just all sorts of stuff. But even, post, I try to follow up once a month, like I said, or anytime that anything, I put them in an email list. I'm working through a CRM now. But anytime, I check the FMCSA website, I check CDL Life and Freight Waves, and if there's anything that I can share with them, I'll copy and paste and put it in my own little flyer and send them out. And so as far as like a set time, I really don't, but I try not to go more than especially if it's just people that I'm regularly in touch with, no more than a month, maybe month and a half. So, just staying in front of them, whether it's on email, or, on site or a phone call.
Okay,
Does that
thank
help?
you. Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you bet. Yep.
All right, Angela Harrison.
Yes, that was a great great thing you did, Jody. I was going to ask that question. I think Mrs. Ivy hit on it, and I was going to ask, how did you sign up your people? Did you use a paper application or a website? And now I figured you probably used a paper application, but what was your process when you finished talking to them? What steps did you take to ensure that you had your people sign up? How did you close the deal, so to speak?
Yep, that's a great question. And a lot of it is listening from here and listening to the trainings and stuff too. And how I followed up is, and I just said, in the meeting is, I do need these, these applications back. And, if you have to check with somebody, put that date down. If you want me to check back in 2 weeks, put it down on top. But, I do need to get these applications back. And that's how I was able to get 4. Did I get all of them back? No. I would have loved to have, but, I got 4 back with 2 more pending. And so that's really, how, and then just really going through the information briefly and then just saying, it's just like, you guys, this just makes sense. You're, protecting your CDL. And then I also shared that story about that AJ shared with us about the driver, and then about the semi driver, and then the other driver that hit the median and then was killed. He went through the windshield, and how he was able to use both of his plans. So, just shared that story with them, and they had some questions that I answered, and then they filled out the applications. So, and it's like, so I'm fairly, it's just like, I have business on the books and stuff like that. So I'm still learning and growing as well and tweaking. It's, we all do. I think everybody does, is going through and plan, do review. And, it's just like, okay, what did I like about my presentation? How am I going to change it for the next time? But you can't do that unless if you start, so it's just all about getting out there and get going and doing everything that you can and working through your mistakes, your learning experiences.
All righty, cool.
Dale,
Right.
if you could come unmuted, great question.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All righty. Well, first of all, congratulations on the success, and I'm excited about the momentum that's coming out of what you're doing. I want to start out by, I have 2 questions. I'm only going to ask one because the other one is more specifically for Ms. Ivy and Mr. Hoffman. But the first one, Mr. Rowe, is because I've had some, when I'm calling, I've had some people tell me, well, no, we don't do that because all of our drivers are owner operators. And so instead of employees. And so my question is there anything as far as your differentiate? How do you differentiate, or how do you approach differently owner operators or companies with owner operators versus companies with employee drivers?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. I have talked, because like this particular one was a mix, but You know, the ones I actually do have one on the books that is owner operators, and the safety manager, you know, just tells them to call me. And so that one I just addressed, you know, as I normally do. And then, you know, if they say, well, these are all owner operators, and I'll be like, you know, I understand that. But basically, if they're under your authority, it's going to affect your scores. So, you know, and then I just, you know, ask them, it's just like, you know, I can get them some, you know, discounted rates and things like that, because I still try to get it under that company. And, you know, if possible, instead of, you know, I mean, it's great to open up all these different groups, you know, or if you can get a census, you know, report and talk to them. But this one other group that I have, you know, they are all owner operators, and he just tells them to call me, and which is awesome. So I probably have about that particular company. I probably have about 3 or 4 drivers, you know, under that one.
Let me jump in. So Dale, do you understand how that works with owner operators?
Well, I know that owner operators are not employees of the company; they're more mainly self-employed. But because what I shared with them is that they're still drive for that company, so therefore their scores affects the company scores, and so I was wanting to be able to allow them to get discounts by coming as a group, even if they're paying for it themselves. Now, I don't know if that was the right thing to say, but that was how I replied, and of course, it hasn't really gotten me anywhere. So you know, it really could be the wrong way to say.
No, it's not wrong. I mean, a lot. Well, you know, so yeah, so owner operators are driving up under that company's authority. So, all it is, they own their truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but they moving freight for that company under that company's authority. So, whether they own the truck or not, when they get those violations, it affects the company. So a lot of times what I do is I slow that owner down to ask them just what I asked you. Do you understand how that works? And most of them don't. They just know that they're an owner operator, and you know they can't, you know, but that just comes with sometimes with the companies, with just the 1099 drivers. You know, they'll put out they'll put out not the blame, but they'll make the driver pay for it because they feel like that's their deal, not theirs as the owner. So I try to slow the owner down to say, you know, and ask them, do you really understand that? Do you understand how that all works? I understand they own their truck, but whatever they do when moving that freight affects your company because they're driving up under your authority. Now, whether they give us the ability to talk to them and allow us, because as an owner operator, you know, they're considered, you know, like you said, a business owner as well. So they could, you know, see the value in all that. But at the end of the day, that owner should realize that that owner operator is affecting his score as well. And most of them don't understand that. So I don't back down easily when they say that, because I want to know whether or not they understand that. And most of them don't. And so when you have that conversation with them, for those that will listen, it becomes a little bit more of an easier conversation, even to the point, even if they just allow me to talk to them. It doesn't matter. I just want them to know that they're affecting your score, sir. You know, so don't back down. You know, continue to just try to ask some more questions, because you'll find that a lot of guys own their trucks, but they lease on to companies. You know, whether they're a small company or big company, they lease on and they're owner operator still. So don't back away so quickly. Just ask and see, can you eventually, you know, be able to have that conversation with that owner operator. But yeah, so yeah, don't run away from that. Because there are a lot of small companies have lease on drivers. A lot of them. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. If we have time, I've got a question for you and Mr. Hoffman, but I know this is for Ms. Giroux right now. So if we have time before, but I always jump off at 8:30 to jump on the New Vision call. So if we have time, I may come back with another question for the both of you.
Okay. All right. And let's Sharice Cosby. John, you want to?
How y'all doing? How y'all doing tonight?
We're good.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you. Go ahead.
At first, my only
You're in the matrix right now, Sharice. You want to type your question in for us? I know you're driving.
As well. Because I'm new. I'm trying to, can you hear me better now?
You're kind of in the matrix. Now? Can you type your question in the chat for us and we'll answer it for you? Okay, I think she's typing for us.
While she's doing that, Sharon, okay. So Jody, I mean, when they have owner operators at the company, you wouldn't necessarily open a group for each one of those, but you'll find a lot of owner operators have drivers working for them in the same company, and that's when you would want to open a group under that owner operator if he has other drivers working for him under that authority. But for an owner operator that's working for that company, just include him in the group, but you'll be able to include a home-based supplement on there too, and all the other supplements. You'd be surprised how many of the drivers own guns. So the gun owner supplement would be a one you'd want to go on also too. And also if they go out of state, also include the all the business plans in that group also too. You'd be surprised how many of the owner operators would sign on for even that higher small business plan and just incorporate all that under the group. And you'll be amazed how much you'll get out of that with owner operators individually. And then if they have their own drivers working for them, that's when you would make a group for them under that company, under that same group also too. So that's how they can build.
Well, I'll come back with that. As that owner operator, those are unique plans. So if he's an owner operator, you can open that group, which is him, whether he has drivers or not to come over you as a trainer, but just to let you know that that's how that works. So they're unique plans. And so even though they're driving up under that authority, they're still a business owner. So that small business plan that they purchase, and then that legal plan that they purchase, that CDLP plan, those are 3 unique plans. So it's 3 unique plans, not necessarily two people have to be there. So, so that's just FYI. So, so that's how
well, that's true, but you lose that amendment provision in the group if you open up a group for that owner operator.
I do it all the time. I mean, but I do it all the time because they leave. A lot of them leave. Those lease guys, they leave. They see the value in it. They leave. I haven't had anybody. I mean, maybe it's because of my conversation. You know what I'm saying? That I have with them. So I understand the amendment, but that's the conversation. I haven't had any of them to come back, to do that. So that's just.
Alrighty. Sharice put her comment in the chat, and we have AJ on with his hands raised also. Her question was, I was open up a new, I'm sorry, that's Susan Alley. Hold on. Cherie asked, I really wanted to know about the rates, but also I wanted to comment on what he just said because she's an owner operator herself.
So Sharice, you can tap in with me and either John. So what John was saying was, the way he would do it was he would, even though they're owner operators, he would still offer them, all the plans, even though they were owner operators, meaning that they were driving up under somebody else's authority, but they owned the truck. he would still offer them the business plan and any other plans that, you know, they would see interest in. And he would just
So we
put
still
it
get
under,
a group rate.
he would put that owner operator, whatever plans they choose would be connected to that group versus I do it a different way. I actually look at that owner operator as his own personal business owner. And I open that owner operator up as a group separately. His concern was the amendment that was attached to it, because that would leave that company and him and the company, the two owners, like the owner and then the owner operator, that would kind of dismiss that amendment. And so that owner operator could come and use his plan against the group.
The company.
Yeah.
Right. But that wasn't the part that I was, because I am new here and I'm trying to see how the CDLP side works. But when he said that he wanted to know how to come at the owners versus, I guess, the company drivers, and what you were saying, how there are a lot of drivers that are leased on, they don't realize that they're leased drivers, not necessarily an owner operator because they own their equipment, but they're running off of the company's DOT numbers versus the owner operators that are not leased on to a company. They run their own authority. They run their own DOT number. And we have different needs. So when he was saying how to come, we need the basics. Obviously, we do need the basics, like you're saying. But that real owner operator versus that lease operator, you know, I need.
Therese, you're in the matrix, but I think we're getting a gist of what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, the guy that runs his own authority.
I was trying to hear, I guess I was going in and out. Like you was saying, you could hardly hear me, but I need to.
Okay, so I mean, we understand what we understand what you're asking, and we understand what you're saying. So yes, the owner, that person who's driving up under his authority, yeah, you have a lot of problems. We know that they have a lot of problems, but those lease guys does too. I mean, they have mechanic issues, things like that, things that they're dealing with when it comes to their business, their truck as well. So that's why I look at it like that, because they have issues too. So it's to each his own how you prospect. But if you want to learn more about that, just connect with one of us field trainers, or you know, and we'll work with you to understand that.
Yeah, I just need to know how this process. That's what I'm trying to learn and see.
Okay, well that's what we're saying. Just connect with someone and continue to plug into the calls, and definitely you'll get that. And so just connect with somebody and we'll explain that to you. Okay.
All right. Thank you, hon.
You're welcome.
All right.
Be safe out there driving and listening in.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Thanks, Therese.
AJ.
Hey, I have a question for Jody. Jody, when you did your presentation, did you see the body language of the drivers? And then was there any objections when you did your presentations?
So I guess they were just, well, as far as body language, they were, you know, all just sit there, relax. They were very welcoming and, you know, just having fun, really. But so like this particular one with the 15 drivers or 15 drivers or so, as far as any objections, I think the only objection that I got is when I had shared about, and it really wasn't an objection, it was a question to their safety manager, is when I, you know, talked about, you know, possibly, you know, working on getting a citation instead of a warning. And then, you know, they asked the owner, they're like, do you want us to do that? You know, or, you know, what do you want us to do? And, and I don't know, John, I don't know if you've ever heard of anything like this, where if the police could end up throwing the drivers in jail if they get a citation. So that was the only question that I had. But I mean, other than that, they were just, they were fine. And then it was just the after one where I got the thing. And I'll say that they're going to be having like 4 safety meetings a year. So hopefully I can get to at least 2 of them. But John, have you heard of that before, where they can end up in jail?
Actually had a driver got put in his truck jail pretty much. He got an overweight ticket, and it was $24,000, and they would not let him go until he paid it. So he had to park his truck in the sheriff's parking lot and stay in the truck until he got the fine paid for. And so he had to get the pink slip on the truck, a loan against it. He had to call the person who owned the load and get to pay for it in advance in order to pay for the $24,000. Use our legal shield plan after he got back home to write a letter to the attorney, stating his case, and he got $9,000 of that back from the overweight ticket, just because he had an issue that he was just trying to be safe, but he just was overweight. He was guilty, and but he did get some of the money back, but they did not let him go. So it was kind of like jail. He had to stay in his truck until he got the fine paid for.
Okay. So is that what they're talking about as far as like jail, instead of like, hey, we're booking you and putting behind bars?
That's not like out of service. That wasn't an out of service fine, John? That wasn't an out of service?
No, it was he was out.
Some of those have to be paid before they move.
No, he had to pay for it before he moved. He was one of these heavy equipment haulers. He had 180,000 pounds instead of 80,000 pounds.
Wow.
And he got stuck on a railroad trestle and damaged it. And so that's why he didn't get all the money back. But it was I imagine all the states are different. This was in Illinois. But he just said, they had him park the truck at night, and the next day they come and got him and had him follow him to the scale, weighed the truck to find out how much his fine was. He had to go back to the sheriff's station to park it there, and they said, well, you got to stay here until you pay for it.
Yeah, that's kind of like an out of service ticket. A lot of them have to pay a lot of those fines before they move them.
Yeah, well,
they get put out of service.
Well, he was out of service, but he couldn't go anywhere either. He had to stay there with the truck. So I hope that answers your question. I imagine, maybe some of those remote counties and southern states, or West Virginians or places like that, where they might have that type of situation where you might find yourself in jail, for that. But I have not heard a story about that, though, other than just being forced to stay in your truck until the fine was paid for. But that took a couple of days. He couldn't go to a hotel. He couldn't do anything else. He had to stay in the truck.
Wow. Okay.
So Jody, the reason why I asked you the question about, objections, or sometimes you'll have a heckler in the group. I always work with my my safety manager, and I prep them ahead. So when I go in my orientation the day before, I call them up and say, okay, how's your class? How many do you have? And who do you have in the class? So I kind of know what the group is like. And if he tells me, yeah, there's 1 or 2 drivers that they're very kind of a smarty guys, that they have answers for every question. So I said, okay, then I kind of prep myself. If I get into a situation where there is a heckler in the group, or somebody's like, oh, this thing sucks, or this doesn't work, I will stop him right away, and I'll say, hey, Mr. or Miss, let me get to you. Just give me a second. I'll get to you as soon as I'm done with the presentation. So that way I stop him there and I complete my presentation. I pull him aside. Then I answer his questions or whatever. But that's another tip that I usually use, because I'll have 1 or 2 guys in there that's kind of, steer people not to sign up. So I kind of put them at bay and say, hey, and my safety guy is there. So he will intervene and say, hey, stop it. Let AJ finish his presentation. If you have any questions, we'll answer it afterwards. So that way nobody interrupts you when you're doing your presentation, because it's going to throw you off. It threw me off when I did my first presentation. Totally, it threw me off. And luckily my safety guy was there, and he intervened and stopped the guy. So, and if that does happen to anybody, that's one thing that I use, is to kind of tell them, hey, wait, I'll answer. I'll get to you as soon as I'm done with the presentation. Just don't interrupt me, and I'll get to you. So if there's anything else, John, that you can add on, and if you use your tactics there.
It's very important to have the person, safety person, introduce you. I mean, the safety person that I handle with Alan Roman's company, I help. He tells the people before I present, he said, I suggest you get this program. He's already sold it for me. So all I got to do is just my presentation, and they're already signing up before I even say anything. So get to know the safety person or the owner of the company, get on their side, and they will actually do half the work for you just by encouraging them to get the program.
All right. Any other questions before we get off? It's 9:30.
Nope, I don't see any other hands raised. Let me check the chat.
Hey, Miss Sharanda, is it a black T-shirt day today? Because we're all wearing black here.
Yeah. Got my performance
Monday.
club shirt.
Good session. Good
I have a
session.
black T-shirt on too.
AJ, I got red on, not black.
We didn't get the memo.
So
the resources Jody, she named out, they're different like publications. I mean, Google them. Yeah, FMCSA, CDL Life, Freightways. Just Google that stuff. Guys. I mean, it's just I hate to say it, common sense. Just Google it. And it'll come up. All of it. It's just great information. We're getting ready to go to the road check. Mid-May. So, you'll be surprised who really doesn't know about that. I mean, like for real. I talked to 3 different companies today, and they didn't even know. Like, really? Like, what? I mean, they've been around a while, so you'll be surprised. So think about who you haven't talked to. Like Jody said, she's been following up since the pandemic, right? I know I had a company, it was 4 years before I closed them. They went through 3 safety managers, so it's about, dating these people, man, just dripping on them and whatever. And so right now, just use that road check. Some other stuff is coming through the summer. So just get prepared to be that trusted advisor for them, just sending them that stuff that's coming up. It's another road check that's going to be in this summertime. Go ahead and Google that information. It's out there. And, just focus on that stuff, just sharing it. So kudos to you, Jody. And thanks everybody for the questions. Dale, I don't know how long that answer would be. You want to tap it? Well, he's gone. Dale's gone. He got on Continued Vision. So that's fine. So anybody else got anything? Johnny got anything? Want to promote your class on the 21st again? You want to unmute so we can hear you talking, or you just want to talk to yourself?
Oh, there we go. Okay. So, someone asked a question about how to reach a field trainer. So that's in your LS Engage. And if you go under the CDLP tab under resources, you'll find the CDLP field trainers. If you go under business solutions, you'll find the business solutions field trainers under that. I'm doing the guest trainer with Alan Roman on May 21st this month. And I'll be sharing my successes with my mass emailing out of trucking companies using the road check first, and then a series of emails to try and see what kind of a reaction I can get, from a lot of companies working from home, trying to take the Sharanda Ivy model and see if that can be implemented with my style also to it going out and seeing companies. And I'll share that also too, how I research companies and pick the ones I want to go to, because you can find out exactly who you want to go to instead of guessing who you want to go to. We have ways to find out exactly who should be talking to us and who should actually open the door for us and sit down with us. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with everybody on May 21st. I hope to see you there, and any associates you have that have not taken the class before or not taking the class for a while, encourage them to take it, and there'll be some valuable information on that.
And it's $49. So it's not free, guys. It's $49. That's it. It's just $49. And he just told you how he's going to share how you can send out mass emails and things like that. You got to be fanatical. So if he sent out John, 100, or I don't know if you use a CRM, but go to the class. He's going to tell you. And just imagine if you could just say send out 100. And if you got 10 replies back, if you got one reply back, that's good.
It'll be about 3,000 emails going out at one time. So it's going to be a mass.
He just told you 3,000. That's a lot. Man.
So
He's bound to get something. So
a lot of work putting that list together, but it's we're in this business to be in business, right?
And he just said the next training is the 21st. So it's on the calendar. It's on the calendar now because I've seen it out there. It's on the 21st of May. Ooh, George. So go on the calendar. So I hope all y'all just the 21st of May is the next training. And John Hoffman and Alan Roman will be hosting that. So John's going to tell you how to do emails. So make sure you get on, and how to look up companies to make and you're going to talk about your fines and all that, John?
About the fines, that list where we find that information, and how
talk about all that.
And just how much they're really going after the trucking companies right now. By the time the training is going to be on May 21st, we're going to probably equal what they did all last year as far as fines.
It'll be after the blitz. So
yeah,
get on. He's going to tell you how to look up those fines, those companies that is really, they're paying out some money. So if you've never been on with that, you want to get on with that because that's some good information. Just some more information to have in your toolbox when you talk to them. Cool. All right, you got the blitz tomorrow. So have your list ready. So, all righty. So we're going to get off, guys. That's it. Miss Yolanda, you got a question?
Yes, I had a situation with a brother that just started his own trucking company. And I told him that, I had something that probably would be able to help him. And then I asked him, did he have any legal help for his truckers? And he said, yeah, he has a third party that he's dealing with. So I said, do they help you out with your tickets and your legal? He says, it's a third party. And I said, well, I know we have a little competition out there, but we're the best in the United States and Canada. We're one of the top notch. So perhaps you should take a look at it. And he said, okay, send me something, right? I don't know what the heck this is. I am so confused with dealing with individuals and dealing with CDL, companies. I know that, it sounds crazy, but I could send them something, or it's like you could send them something to the company. You could make an appointment with the company, or I could have just went deeper in with him right there on the spot, questioning him, and it just didn't seem right because what our conversation was about was totally different than this. So I didn't want to be evasive in that. So I don't know what to do at this point. So I did nothing. I said I probably would be able to get some help from you guys.
Okay, so yeah, that could go a lot of different ways. I think we talked about on this call before. I will say, Miss Yolanda, you just sound like you show up here, so it seems like you want to work CDL. So I would, just connect with a field trainer that you want to connect with that can help you and assist you. But we did mention on the call before, we have to remember what our plan does. So I don't really know what his situation was, but you did say he was new. So, third party could have been brushing you off. You're talking about legal. You may not have, came into any contacts with violations if he's real new. So that's why we try to teach how to research companies so we know our hottest prospects. So he's an owner, but he may not have any violations right now. So you coming at him with legal and all that, saying third party, and that kind of sounds good. You expect him to have some type of representation. So he could have told you he had third party just to kind of get you off of his back. But he may not have dealt with anything right now when it comes to violations. So it just depends, what his situation is, looking at his company. If you didn't research the company, I would look at the company and see, even though if he's new, he may have some problems, with tickets and things, but he may have other issues as a new carrier, and maybe need the small business plan. So that could go a lot of different ways. So I would definitely connect with someone that can assist you on how to maybe prospect him. But remember, we have a video. If nothing else fails, send him the video.
Right. Thank you
Okay?
so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody else before we jump off? John, you want to tap into that?
No, Yolanda, I would say, try and have a conversation with them and say exactly what have they done for you so far, and see what kind of problems that they've helped them with. Might be totally different than what we're doing for our drivers. So it could be, they might be helping the business, but not the drivers. So just, you have to have a conversation with them before you send him anything. I don't want to send him anything blindly without finding out exactly what his problems are. And it just might not be the right person. You have to, there are companies out there that don't think they need our service, and until they realize they do need our service.
And I was just talking about the CDLP video. Right. I mean, that's all I was talking about. Mm-hmm. So he's a driver, he's an owner. You might not see it today, but that's the only video I was sending.
He owns 2 businesses. This came up just in a conversation. It was something totally different from what we do, and I didn't want to be invasive. I didn't want to mess up what I was already talking to him about, but it was just shocking that he has a medical company and he has this CDL. He just spoke, I just started 2 new businesses. One was the trucking company and the other one's medical. So I really welled out of there because I didn't feel confident enough to speak on that. And I didn't want to blow the deal, if there's anything, because I could have offered him, business. I know I know a lot of our plans. I could have offered him business. I could have sent him something. I just didn't know what to do. So I ran.
Tap in with someone. They'll help you, Ms. Brown. So just tap in with a trainer. Like I said, we can go back and forth all night with that because it can go 1,000 ways. So just tap in with somebody and they'll definitely assist you with that.
All right. Thank you.
All righty. Good stuff. Awesome. Kudos for prospecting. All righty, y'all. Let's close it out. Hope y'all have a good week. The Blitz, it is May. So set your goals. It's the 5th month already, God. So make sure you're ready. Huh?
5th month already and PC Pro already. All right. Yes, let's go.
Well, AJ, he bronze already.
Yeah.
Yeah, he bronze. And it's just the 2nd day.
I need some emails to Northern California too, AJ. So be careful. Okay.
Hey, John, thanks for sending out those emails. It's good marketing.
You're welcome.
Right. So AJ gonna walk in after your email.
That's right. That's all right.
All righty, y'all. So have a good one. Have fun on the Blitz.
Thanks so much for all that you're doing for us, pouring into us with me tonight. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Mr. Hicks. Absolutely. We hope it helps, guys. It's on replay, so definitely tap into the replay and tap into John training because that's some phenomenal stuff he's going to teach to have more conversations. So definitely, guys, to tap into that. So, all right, Dunbar, we're signing off, and we hope everybody have a good night. Thank you, Sharon, for managing the room. And y'all have a good blitz. Participate, guys. 2 hours a day, at least that day. Yeah, make some dials. You don't make no more. So.
Thank you.
Kudos.
Have a great
Have a good
week,
night.
everyone.
Good night, everyone.